They are anti-Semitic, and the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics, and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people. And that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
And I thought I'd go and have a look at Jewish literature to see what they say about their origins. And here we see 3 quotes. And the first is in the 1925 Jewish Encyclopedia, which says that Esau, Edom, is modern Jewry. And of course this is contrary to what most people believe today, which is that the Jews are God's chosen people because they are the Israelites. But here the Jewish literature is saying that they are actually from the tribe of Edom, not the tribe of Israel. And in the Jewish Almanac in 1980 it says, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or Hebrew. And that's because, truthfully speaking, they are not the Hebrews or Israelites, they are really the Edomites. And also we see here in the Encyclopedia Judaica that Edomite Jews began to call themselves Hebrews and Israelites in 1860.
Should we start profiling white men? Now, I know Republican heads across the country just exploded, right? But it's actually a very interesting question, and it's a legitimate question, because look at all of the mass shootings. The only one I could think of that was done by a black person, or just anybody who wasn't white, is the DC sniper years and years and years ago. All the ones since are done by white men.
Can I say humorous cartoon? Is it right to have any kind of humour about this? But that's the way it's represented, and it certainly is food for thought. And is more fuel to the belief that Israelis are preoccupied with genocide, homicide and Holocaust, and being on both sides of it. Gilad Atzmon goes as far as saying, can you find a genocide today in the last 100 years where the Jews are not involved? And he said, it's a mythology, it probably isn't true. Because he said, I mean, Israel sends weapons all over the world. They're in the Ukraine and all sorts of places, setting up bases there. All sorts of things. They're into mass killing, mass slaughter, genocide and Holocaust. It's their way of life. Something that isn't generally publicised. It's kept a secret because they want to keep getting away with it.
Let's actually examine the words of the mantra and see if they prove there really is a white genocide going on.
The task is to bring this minority together in such a way that it makes it impossible for the legacy of whiteness to continue to reproduce.
Because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in.
Make a good policy of immigration to really change the policy of immigration inside Europe.
So there is no way you can say, I take 10,000 and that's finished.
It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural mode.
Immigration is the future. You cannot work and live in Europe without immigration. And
so appalling, because the implication of where white people meet is that these poor white people are having trouble meeting.
They are not anymore only white or only Swedish or only Portuguese or only German. They are multicultural places in the world.
For whatever reason, people still feel like it's okay to say, I only want to date white people.
And a key argument for the development of multicultural states.
Ce n'est pas un choix, c'est une obligation. L'objectif, ça va faire parler, mais l'objectif, c'est relever le défi du métissage. Si ce volontarisme républicain ne fonctionnait pas, il faudra alors que la République passe à des méthoden plus contraignantes encore.
Legalen Weg geben, in Europa Asyl zu beantragen. Auch Länder wie Polen, sehr katholisch übrigens, müssen bereit sein, Flüchtlinge aufzunehmen.
And I think the most profound way that my life has been shaped by my race, what makes a school good and what makes a neighborhood good? Well, the absence of people of color. That is the way that white people measure the value of their neighborhoods and schools. And while we don't come out and name that, we all know what it is. Such as a racist joke or a racist action, or things that would be recognizable to everybody, right? The kinds of acts that cause people like me, well-meaning people like me, to say, I couldn't possibly be racist, I don't do those things. And I try to help white people understand racism as the very fabric of our society. Many people can recognize the explicit, kind of conscious dislike type of racism, racist jokes, racist expressions, the KKK.
Well, we always believe that we're aiming at the 97% that are not the haters, the real confirmed card-carrying members of the hate groups. The 97% are subject to being influenced, and we would like them to be influenced positively rather than negatively.
Hey, we killed 6 million Jews the last time.
Now, the Hebrews did not start there, and the Israelites didn't start there. You really have no bearing to be in the Hebrews or the Israelites. You are not the dispersed nations, plural, of the tribes of Jacob, who were surnamed Israel. Actually, the con game that you have brought on to this country and the world for many years, and it's been a good con, it's been a good con game, is that you're allegedly God's chosen people.
We are God's chosen people. It's just that most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
For instance. So we'll take on the same shape and form of the people. Characteristics, traits, approach, interests, everything.
I like it. Can I see the other side too? White man against Trump. That's awesome. Are you white? Are you white?
I just gotta stand in solidarity with my people.
But I don't think about being white.
Are you white?
I am feeling apprehensive.
Are you sure you're not Jewish?
I don't want to say anything.
Are you Jewish? You're Jewish, aren't you?
It's the same thing.
It's a very touchy subject. It's still difficult, even if you feel like you're on the right side of it, to have a dialogue about it.
It's not the same thing. Jews aren't white. I read it on the forward that Jews aren't white.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, right?
You see this? Ashkenazi-Jews. Ashkenazi Jews. That's a Jewish person that's of Arab descent. Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi, plural. Ashkenazism, from Hebrew Ashkenaz, Germany. Member of the Jews who lived in the Rhineland Valley and neighboring France before they migrated eastward to Slavic lands, Poland, Lithuania, Russia after the Crusades. All right. They speak Hebrew and Yiddish. So
same exact form, inside and out. As we are there, it's like an undercover agent. He is there for a while, no one touches him, he has to start working, build a house, family, everything is fine, okay, for years and years. After that, he starts doing something. He gets a reminder from outside. You got to start working. He already forgot about it. And all of a sudden, they call him, here is your commander, this and this and that. Like in the movies. And like in Jason Bourne.
I think that impulse, that kind of colorblindness impulse, comes mostly from white people. Like I've never heard, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it comes from all people of all kinds, but I've heard